All right, let's talk to Alabama's Tyler Booker. He joins us at this point of the show every single Monday, coming off a bye week for the Crimson Tide. As we learned last week, there are no off weeks in college football, though. You worked
no off weeks.
What is up, Book? How are you today?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. I know there are no off weeks, but what is a Saturday without football like for you?
For me, it was really just being a college football fan again. You know, all these years of playing college football now, but before that, I was a college football fanatic, and my dad and I would just watch the games all day long. So it was great to get on the phone. So he and I were actually watching the games, and we were on the phone just like we were back at home. So it was great to be able to spend some virtual time with him. And then I also built this Lego set of the Infinity Gauntlet. I got to show this off to you guys.
You built that?
I did this
Is that a C-3PO hand?
What is that?
It's the Infinity Gauntlet.
I wasn't even
From
close.
Thanos is Infinity Gauntlet.
So did you start? Did you start that from scratch? Pull it back.
Tyler loved me saying C-3PO. It was gold.
Tyler, did you start that from scratch?
It took me about 6 hours, but I did it straight through the game.
Okay,
wow, that's incredible.
Can I just say, my little girly hands, I feel like I could build that with some help. But show me your hands. How do you put those little pieces together there? I mean, that's impossible. How are you not fumbling those things around?
I had to completely clear the table off, and then Lego does a great job of separating things by bag. So bag 1, bag 2, bag 3. So I open one bag at a time and push everything away. And once I find some of the smaller pieces that are harder to find, I group them up and I just chip away at it.
Well, I was going to ask, in your world, UConn has gone to the ACC. They were becoming a dominant program. And your dynasty that you're building, did you ever finish off that season?
Yeah, I finished off that season, and since then I won another national championship as well. So just continuing to build that dynasty, and I'm figuring recruiting out as well because it's hard to get guys from down south to come up north to go to UConn. So trying to figure that out, recruiting the right guys. So that's been fun as well. But gotta wait till the season's over to get back to that.
You gave that Lego read a little too good for me. Do you have an NIL deal with Lego that I don't know about? Are they paying you yet?
Not yet, but I'm hoping for one.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for one.
Well, we'll see what we can do for you there. Okay, so you look fantastic in that color, by the way. You'll be wearing the crimson with the white pants and the crimson piping this weekend. Familiar opponent, it seems like anytime it's Georgia and Alabama, it's a big game. Does this have a big game feel to it for you already? It's not for a championship or anything. It's in the regular season. But does this feel like a typical Georgia-Alabama week for you yet?
You guys are going to get mad at me because I might have to give you guys another boring coach answer. But
don't do this. Not on Georgia week. Come on.
I mean, well, what I can tell you about Georgia, they're a great football team. They're coached by Kirby Smart, who's a great coach, and Coach Smart carried over a lot of the traditions and things that he learned from Coach Saban over to Georgia. So it's going against a team like that is great. You face somebody who was really brought up kind of like you. So I'm very excited to play that team. They're a great team last year, and they're going to be a great team this year.
Do you feel like, though, Buck, I mean, you guys have played Georgia in a lot of it's just a big game feel. And I know what you guys always tell me, hey, it's a faceless opponent. But, I mean, it's got to – you know who that logo is, and you know it's a big game. I mean, it's – you guys, when you face Georgia, it just always feels so important.
I mean, it's really important because it's the next game, and especially going into a 12-team playoff. You need to win every game, so that's why it's important, and it's also important because it's an SEC opponent. Now that there's no divisions, it's just one bracket. You gotta beat every SEC team, so that's why it's important.
Well, you saw these guys less than 10 months ago. I know the roster is different, and Georgia, much like you guys, they just restock, reload, great talent. But watching them this year to last year, how different is this roster?
This roster, I feel like it's very similar to last year. They're a great team. They're great up front. Their linebackers, they have really good linebackers. I like the way they play. They play really fast and downhill. And this is why you come to Alabama to play in games like this to compete against guys like this. And a reason why this is probably a little bit special for me, personally, is because one of my close friends in the world, I consider him a brother of mine, Ellis Robinson. He goes to Georgia now, and Ellis and I grew up less than a mile away from each other. We used to walk through each other's houses. That's how close we grew up to one another. So just being two kids from New Haven, Connecticut, being on the biggest game of the week, that's very special for me.
Well, that's amazing. Two kids from New Haven, Connecticut are across from each other in the Georgia-Alabama rivalry game this weekend in prime time on ESPN. That's amazing. I love what you said as well about, it's neat to be playing across from someone who's been coached exactly the way you've been coached. That's got to be a great feeling as well. Was Nick Saban a great pregame motivator for you guys? And I'm asking for a reason, because I don't know if he gave fiery pregame speeches, rah, 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 let's go, get them, that kind of stuff. But imagine you're laid up in the hotel room at about 10:59 Central Time, and you're watching game day, and there's 5,000 Alabama fans behind Nick Saban, and they're picking that game before Corso puts on either UGA or the Elephant Head. And Nick Saban, knowing that you guys are watching, says, I love Alabama, but I'm going to pick Georgia. Is that something you think he possibly could do on game day this week?
It's something that he can do. I'm just happy for Coach that he has that platform, he has the opportunity, and it looks like he's having a lot of fun doing it. So we'll see who he picks.
Is that diplomatic enough for you?
But if he picks Georgia, in the back of your mind, you're going to be like, my coach is trying to get me fired up for this game.
I don't even
go ahead.
I don't even watch college game day on the day of the game. I'm locked in, and if I'm not going over film, I'm taking a nap before the game. So I'll see after the game who we picked and see if he ended up being right or wrong.
In a bye week, and we're talking with Tyler Booker, and you can get all the Alabama coverage. Great week to do this. CoverCrimson.com, CoverCrimson.com. A lot of great Alabama-centric shows. And the message board, it all starts right there at $1 for you for the first month. CoverCrimson.com. Great week to jump on. Tyler Booker with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. A lot of times in a bye week, you do a little self-evaluation. Now, you've only got 3 games of this, but did you learn a lot about yourself and your team in a bye week?
I definitely did. It's something that I've done that I like to do during the bye weeks. I go across some of my previous games, see things that I need to work on, and just fine-tune those things. And as a leader of my room, I really made sure that everybody did that as well. So I've seen a lot of improvement as a group and as a team overall through this bye week. So I'm very excited to go out and perform this weekend.
There was a moment in time, you will find this hard to believe, but players could not sell their own personal tickets. And I think it was 2 tickets per player back in the day. And I remember buying tickets a lot of times from Alabama players on campus way back in the day, and they were like, got to keep this quiet on the down low. I don't know, a new NIL, how many tickets you guys get, but what have the ticket requests been like from family and friends this week for this game?
It's been pretty steep, and it's been pretty tough because everybody, it's a big game. College game day is going to be there, so people want their family there, so it's pretty hard to trade and exchange tickets, but it's tough getting them. So
last year's game was for a championship, and I'm sure it was fun because confetti fell down. I don't even know how to ask this. The playoffs expanded, so I know you want to win every game, but this doesn't end the season or make the season for either one of these teams this weekend. So for me that don't play the game, explain to me how this will feel different than, say, last year in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Will it feel different? Do you have to attack everything with the same mindset? Take me inside your head knowing that if you win it, there's still games to be played. If you lose it, there's still games to be played.
Well, that's one of the things that Coach DeBoer preaches to us, and that's something that Coach Saban preaches to us as well. Like you have to give everybody the same respect. You have to treat every game the same. And I know you guys laugh and be like, oh, he's giving me the diplomatic answer. But that's true. The same way that I prepared for Western Kentucky is going to be the same way that I prepare for Georgia, because I know that my next play could be my last. So knowing that, I need to give my all on every play, because that's how I want to. That's how my legacy is going to go down. Like, did this guy give his all every play? Did this guy give his all every single game? So it's going to feel different because we're playing at Bryant-Denny rather than Mercedes-Benz Stadium. But the same way I prepared last year, I've improved in my preparation from last year to this year. But from Western Kentucky to this week, it's same preparation, same mindset.
All right, I'm going to leave you for Georgia Week with a question from the audience. You okay with that? Will you take a question from the audience?
I'll take a question.
Okay.
Is it Pee Wee from Mobile?
It is not Pee Wee from Mobile. No, this is Nick. Nick in the chat room, the mybookie.ag chat room, says he would love for us to ask you. He's got a son that's 140 pounds, so he's playing offensive line. And he's like, man, I'm just not as important as the skill players. I really wish I was a skill player. What would you say? And the kid's an Alabama fan, so he loves you, Book, I'm sure. What would you say to a young kid struggling through that? Like, man, I just don't want to do this because he doesn't feel like he's an important part of the team because he's just an offensive lineman.
First and foremost, you have to get that just being an offensive lineman out of your head. You have to understand that the play doesn't happen without you. If you don't block for the run play, the running back is not going to be able to get through the hole. If you don't give the quarterback time to throw the ball, the wide receiver is not going to be able to get the ball as well. So everything starts and stops with you. And I always joke with my teammates whenever the coaches are rushing us to get from one field to another because we have 3 practice fields and we have to run across field. We're like, man, we can take as long as we want. It don't start without us. They're not. They can't start without us. So when we get there is when we'll start. But that's just how it goes. You being an offensive lineman, you have one of the most important jobs on the field because you have to be consistent at all times, and nothing happens without you.
Yeah, you can win with an average. You can win championships with an average quarterback. You can't win a championship with an average offensive line. True statement, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
All right.
Very true.
Very good. All right, that's good advice for a young kid, 140 pounds. So tell him keep fighting, right? Keep fighting up front.
Keep fighting and roll tide.
All right, Book, good luck against Georgia. We'll talk with you about it next Monday. We appreciate the time as always.
All right, thank you. I'll have a good one.
All right, buddy. We'll see you. Tyler Booker with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Don't forget, CoverCrimson.com. Great place to go. Great time to jump on there. $1 for that first month at CoverCrimson.com. And it's loaded with Alabama and Georgia content this week. CoverCrimson.com.